Welcome to the Senior Rehab Podcast,
the podcast for rehab clinicians that want to better serve older adults.
And now, your host, Dustin Jones.
Shorts. Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Senior Rehab Podcast. This week's Senior Rehab short comes from Matt Dancigers, titled Self-Residency. This was written in April 13th, 2016. The decision to go to residency is so easy. Yes, of course I want to go. Learn more, become skilled in the path you wish to take, have confidence in my knowledge, skills, and abilities? No problem. Well, the time and monetary cost, with no direct compensation link, are a common deterrent to pursuing residency after school or in the middle of a career. Yes, the third year of DPT school should be a residency in your anticipated specialty field, getting paid and paying for a residency, but that's another discussion. For those of you that do not or cannot seek out the residency, may I suggest a self-residency. This format consists of mentorship, meetings, content, and reflection. Mentorship. This can be formal or informal and involves 3 tiers of influence. For context, see Ty Lopez below on the law of 33%. The basics are this: you grow with the people around you. Mentorship can come in a variety of forms, and you need to be part of the process. Find trusted people with 10 times more experience or expertise than you, the top 33%. Interact with peers that are moving and shaking, the middle 33%, and actively mentor those in the first steps of their journey, lower 33%. The top 33%, keep in touch with professors from universities, follow smart people on Twitter, read research, keep relationships with your clinical instructors. You need not have a direct relationship with a person to be influenced by them, to take some of their advice, to be inspired, to improve, or to check your inactions against. I attempt to maintain open channels amidst the hustle and bustle of life, via emails or social media with prior CIs and those that have accomplished things in my field. Reach out. You will get less resistance to your request for help than you think. The middle 33%. Keep active in that study group from school. Bond together with your coworkers. Make a journal club together. Keep that group text going about what courses you're going to, etc. Practical antidote. The PT Brain Trust keeps a message feed open to discuss concepts, share videos and papers, ask questions of each other about treatments, diagnostic findings, ethics in the workplace, and so on. The internet allows you to maintain contact with clinicians you trust, no matter the distance. In-person meetings allow more elaboration, maybe a rant or two, and hands-on technique displays. It's also nice to share a beer with peers going through similar professional cycles. The lower 33%. Engage your PT techs, your volunteers, your DPT students, your front desk staff. Help that 8th grader see the importance of good grades no matter the subject. More formal options include tutoring in sciences to high schoolers or undergrads. This exercise can allow you to fine-tune your communication skills, explaining complex things to interested individuals who don't have the foundation you do. Help a senior understand the PTCAS process. You will get more out of this than you give, no doubt. Remember the one teacher or coach that had a big influence on where you are today? What's their name? Now imagine if someone out there is saying your name. More on this. John Childs has a nice post on his experience here, which is linked in the blog post. Meetings. Go to your local PT association meetings. Continuing education is as much about the people you meet as it is the content. That being said, master the content. You will learn on various topics, and networking, which just means stand around, be yourself, and say hi, can lead to many opportunities. As mentioned above, meetings allow elaboration on complex questions you have. Nothing really beats a face-to-face conversation in a safe, open environment. Here is where you can lead the discussion and go after your weaknesses. Don't show up to prove, show up to improve. Simon Sinek. Content. Open up your Netter's Atlas. Open up your amputation rehab textbook. The answers are all at your fingertips if you can be self-driven. Orthopedic rehab did not, since you graduated in the past 5 years, change so dramatically that your textbook is just a paperweight. If your texts are old, buy the newest version and boom, content. Formal research is available through associations, online, those prior professors, your peers, and the study authors. YouTube is full of people demonstrating techniques, treatment movements, exercises. You'll have to filter the junk on your own, though. To mimic a residency, content should also take a more formal avenue. Perhaps your group, anyone from your 3 mentorship groups, agreed to read a chapter of Dutton's Orthopedics and get on Skype and quiz each other. This can be done with your middle and lower 33% groups quite easily. Engage your upper 33% with specific questions that you have about the content, or ask them to elaborate on a technique, and etc. If you're serious about solidifying the content, as you would be asked to do in a formal residency, then reading and quizzing are part of the process. Reflection. Ask yourself questions to keep on track. Your clinical instructors did that while you were a student. It's up to you or a coworker to challenge your decisions. What was it that I did that made a difference? Why did I choose to leave out those 2 tests and focus on the hip? Assume you could always have done it better in some way. What way might have been? Things like explaining your clinical findings to a coworker or colleague with illuminate weakness. They might say, "Did you check for long track signs?" You are now in a position to say yes or no and why. That's simple reflection. You're doing it right there. So that's the plan. The above is a lot of self-motivation, and it may not happen every day or even every week or month. The decision of skipping a real-life event for your made-up residency is tough, and many will not understand it, including yourself at times. Oh, sure, you have to Skype right now and talk about the osteotendinous junction. It's much easier to carve out time when it is hoisted upon you by a formal residency. Is this post just detailing the conflict I personally have about not completing formal residency? Sure, in parts, no doubt. This post is really for those that feel the same as me, those that want guidance, confidence, and improvement. Thanks, Matt, for writing this. I know I have struggled with the whole residency topic, and I know this podcast, the private Senior Rehab Project Facebook group, and Twitter as well has been a huge mentor for me, especially in the isolated setting of home health. So I think this is a very pertinent article, and I hope everyone listening will act on his recommendations if you have not pursued formal residency. Thanks again, Matt. Hit me. I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. The show notes and much, much more can be found at seniorrehabproject.com. I want to encourage you to go there so you can join me and many others in the movement that's changing the face of geriatric rehab. Just go to seniorrehabproject.com, click join, and you'll be able to get access to our private Facebook group, which can basically serve as your virtual mastermind group. You'll get a short and sweet monthly email from me with useful links for you and your patients. And lastly, you'll get 10% off your first purchase from the Senior Rehab store. So all of this can be found at seniorrehabproject.com. And until next time, my friends, do not forget to stay funky.